using slides. Okay, so anyway, good evening, everyone. And I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your evening to come and listen to this little introduction that I'm doing this evening. So I think it's quite timely because this has been a pretty interesting week, and a couple of things have happened in the UK, particularly, that caught my attention. So if you're UK based, you can't have failed to notice the fuel crisis that we've had in recent times. And also, although I haven't put it in this slide, I think it was very interesting what happened in Facebook this week, with Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram. It was an interesting reminder of our dependency on, how shall I put it, the usual sources that we depend on, whether it be for business or social media. It focused the centralized nature of so many things that we do. But anyway, let me go backwards slightly, because you might not know much about me and who I am. So to give you a little bit of information about me, I'm a single dad in my 50s, and I'm the proud owner of 3 kids. They won't like to hear me say it like that, but I've got 3 kids, and anyone that does know me will know that I have quite a strong obsession for all things Star Wars related, and I'm very much a big fan of Bitcoin and all things crypto related. And historically, you may not know that much about my past, but I used to work in local government. So this was I currently work in the IT sector, and I worked in local government for about 11 years. And most of that time I enjoyed it, but towards the end I got a little bit disillusioned because I didn't really see much of a future for myself. So the question for me at that point was, okay, where do I go next? And it just so happens that during that period, I was quite curious about IT, but I didn't know the first thing about it. But that hunger was there. And, in my own spare time, I would use that time to, I started to learn how to build computers, etc. So what I did is I took a bit of a gamble, and I sold my pride and joy at the time, which was a BMW very similar to the one you see on the screen in front of you. And I used it to pay for my first IT course. And I also used some of the money to buy a Mazda estate car very similar to the one in the picture. And I used that to do cab driving in my spare time. So that was a drastic career change. And it was funny because most of my colleagues were saying to me, why would you do something like that? Because, you're safe where you are in local government. And don't forget, you've got a nice pension at the end of all this. But to my mind, I was more concerned about having quality of life and enjoying the role that I was in. So to me, it wasn't worth the idea of spending 20, 30 plus years in a job that I didn't enjoy for the sake of a pension, 20, 30 years in the future. So I got into an IT career, and which started around the year 2000. And interestingly enough, during that career, I found myself at Canary Wharf a few times. And it's strange because one way or another, Canary Wharf has found itself weaving its way into my career. And, I loved working in IT, and I'm still doing it. And I would say that without doubt, my favorite period when I worked in the IT industry was 2012 during the Olympics. It was a highly satisfying period. I loved my job. It wasn't just for the money. I was very, very passionate about it. But the problem was it had an Achilles heel. And that Achilles heel was, as much as I loved the job, it was basically putting all my eggs in one basket. So when there was a change in the way that things were run, basically the rug was pulled from under me and I had to look for another job elsewhere. And it taught me an interesting lesson that, you know, no matter how comfortable you might be in a certain environment, it's very, very important not to put all your eggs in one basket. You'll have to excuse me if I'm not always looking at the camera because I've got 3 screens in front of me. So it changes from time to, you know, my view is going to change. I'm going to be looking in different directions all the time. And so anyway, if you look at the screen here, it emphasizes that most of us are in a position that I was in at that time. Most people have a job, roughly 60% of the population. We work for someone. And then depending on if you're self-employed, run a business, or the very small 1%, most of their income comes from investment. That's a very small percentage of the population. And so what happened during that period, and also what happened in the recession in 2008, 2009, it taught me an interesting lesson. So when you fast forward to last year, when when COVID happened, it was a little bit like deja vu, but I thought to myself, I'm not going to do things the way I did last time. And it's for that reason that when I was approached by a nephew of mine talking about an organization called AMI Finance Academy, I was skeptical, but at the same time, I was curious. But anyway, let me backtrack slightly. So we'll come back to AMI Finance again. And by the way, they're based in Canary Wharf, which is one of the things that I find so interesting. So yeah, I think they're on the 37th floor. So yeah, it's funny how my IT career, my link with the Olympics project, and now what I'm doing now, time and time again, it's brought me back to the Canary Wharf Tower. Anyway, as I mentioned before, a big passion of mine is cryptocurrencies. And one of the things that makes me passionate about cryptocurrencies is, as my understanding of how money works, my interest in cryptocurrency has grown and grown. So if you look at the chart in front of you, we talk about inflation, or we talk about how the price of property seems to be going up all the time. Now, in some respects, that's true, but the real picture is the fact that the value of the money that we have in our hands is ever decreasing. So if you look at the chart here, compared to the year 1913, $1 is now worth only 3 cents of what it was worth then. So the question is, to my mind, how do you counteract that? How do you ensure that you don't depend on a single source of income? And that's one of the reasons why I'm so interested in cryptocurrency. So before I go on, I want to show you a quick video, not the whole thing, but just a short clip from a YouTube clip video that I discovered back in, the video is actually dated 2015, and I think you will find it quite interesting. So if I just take my camera off for a second, and I'll show you this video. All right, 1 moment. Right, so have a listen to this. I hope you can hear it clearly.
In the past, money was sent up country by bus and often didn't arrive. M-Pesa was founded 7 years ago by Safaricom as a mobile phone-based money transfer service. It now has around 18 million customers across Africa. The limit per transaction is about 1,000 euros.
The business of moving $1 or $2 has never been in the purview of the banking environment. And that's where products like M-Pesa come in.
Experts say that M-Pesa's PIN-secured SMS text messages make it relatively secure. But of course, the company is up against the same risks as international banks.
Any platform such as M-Pesa, which is allowing 20 million people and more to come on the platform, is going to have challenges in this new cyber insecurity ecosystem that we now live in.
As mobile phone use grows in African cities, so does the potential for e-commerce. Today, it contributes 11 billion euros to the African economy per year and is expected to rise to 190 billion over the next 10 years.
Kenya's been a laboratory experiment. We're seeing it grow from just money transfer, plain and simple, pure, predominantly from the urban areas into the rural areas. We're now seeing massive expansion.
M-Pesa has also been expanded to Tanzania and South Africa. It's also being launched in Romania. In Germany, mobile payment services have yet to go mainstream, with users so far numbering less than 200,000. That might start to change. In the fall of 2014, Apple introduced Apple Pay, a mobile payment and digital wallet service. Statistics on users have yet to be released.
Right, so I have a question for you guys. Have any of you heard of M-Pesa before?
Yes, through you.
Same here. This is the first time we're hearing about it.
Yeah, well, it's when I first heard about it, it completely blew my mind because you may or may not know that I've been into crypto since 2017. And when I first got into it, I was very similar to the people that got into it this year. I saw that the price was going up. I got excited. I bought into crypto with no knowledge whatsoever. And because I didn't know anything, when the price, when I saw the volatility in the price, i.e. the price going down, I panicked, just as people panicked this year as well, when there was volatility. But crucially, although I panicked, I decided that rather than pull my money out of crypto, I would educate myself to learn more. And it was while I was educating myself that I heard about M-Pesa. So just in case you didn't grasp the full concept, what happened was in Kenya, because you've got billions of people around the world have no bank of their own, because from the banking system's point of view, they don't earn enough for it to be worth their while to give them a bank account. But then, so people found an alternative way to survive and exchange value. So what they started doing was using their mobile phone credits as a form of currency. And so they would get their phone credits and exchange it with each other and use it to buy bread and all kinds of things. And then M-Pesa picked up on that and they gave it more structure, and it's now an official form of payment in Kenya. And as you saw in the video, it spread around. Don't forget, this is dated 2015 and it's before Apple Pay. So they beat Apple Pay to the punch. So, and it wouldn't surprise me if what happened with M-Pesa inspired Apple Pay, or at the very least pushed it forward. And also it told me that, I thought, wait a minute, this isn't even the equal of cryptocurrency. This is controlled by an organization. So as cryptocurrency matures and gets easier and easier to use, what I saw was that people in developing countries will grasp the value of cryptocurrency, and it will take up a momentum of its own. And so that plus what I learned about how the fiat currency system works, etc. But this was the kind of like the real aha light bulb moment for me. And I thought, wow, once crypto catches on, there's just no turning back. It really, really convinced me that crypto was the way forward. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. So, right, let me go back to the presentation so I don't lose track of what I'm doing. So if you bear with me 1 second. Okay, so if I just fast forward to where I was. Okay, so, and you remember what I was saying about how, oops, am I going to start that presentation again? Bear with me 1 second. Ah, okay, I'm on the wrong screen. 1 second. Right, so it's because of that conviction and because of the knowledge that I was getting, I learned to ignore the negative things that I said about cryptocurrency, because there's always some kind of negative news going on about crypto, to the way that I look at it, to scare off the ordinary person, to make them think, to make them nervous about investing. But despite all the negative things that you hear, those with power and influence, those who understand finance more, they're investing big style. And it suits them when there's bad news, because when retail investors like us are scared off by negative news, they just hoover it all up, because especially with Bitcoin, there's limited supply. And what I was saying in terms of ease of use, interestingly enough, this year, was it this year or last year? Yeah, this summer, I was actually, I had some weights that I wanted to sell. And, when I advertised it, I said that I would take not just cash, but I would take crypto. And the person who, the person who saw the ad, he was also an enthusiast. And that, if you look at the pictures that you see in the screen, that's me and myself and the person doing a transaction. So, I sold, those weights for a combination of Bitcoin and Ethereum. And it's funny because, both of us were more excited about the fact that we were trading using cryptocurrency even than the thing that I was selling. It was quite funny. And, to emphasize the point, this chart that you see is dated in November last year. This is before Bitcoin hit 20,000 last year and then went even higher. Just in case you're not aware, Bitcoin just after this period was worth about $20,000. As I speak, I think Bitcoin has now gone up to about $54,000 this week. So this week has been. Say it again.
It hit 55.
There you go. It's not standing still. So yeah. But look at that chart. So during the month of November last year, depending on how much you know about Bitcoin, 27,000, just under 28,000 Bitcoin were created that month. But in that month, just one organization got their hands on, look at that figure, 55,000 Bitcoin. They're not scared. They're not affected by anything negative that is said about cryptocurrency. They know what they're doing. And this is just one of the organizations that's hoovering up Bitcoin. And since then, especially in 2021, early this year, you had more and more larger organizations moving into the space. And, that's not stopping anytime soon. So in the crypto world, the ordinary retail investor actually has an edge in certain ways. And the reason I say that is because the larger the organization, they can't just say, oh, we're going to buy crypto. They have to get the okay from shareholders, et cetera, et cetera. They have to do due diligence. So the decision for a large organization to buy crypto, it's something that spans several months. So to my mind, this is a time for ordinary people like us to exploit the fact that we have the edge. And some of the tools that I used to that effect are within IAM Academy, which AMI Finance partners with. And we have all kinds of financial tools at our disposal that help us get an edge. Now, for some people, their goal is to get more, dollars, pounds, whatever it might be. I have the same goal, but my ultimate goal is to get my hands on crypto and use normal currency as a method of getting my hands on cryptocurrency. And, you know, some of the things that I'm learning within the academy, they give me the ability to literally make my money work, you know, make my money work for me rather than me working for money. Money is working for me, and I'm learning all these various tools that makes that happen. So I've got a few more slides, but let me see if I can get out of it for a moment and just show you some of the tools that we have within the academy. So just to give an example, we have something called HFX. Okay, let's see if I can log into it. Let me just refresh that. Now, some of you might be familiar with it already. Oh, that's not loading. That's a good start, isn't it? Let me just see if I can try one of the other ones. Okay. Okay, let me go to one of the other tools. Okay, so we have basically, broadly speaking, in terms of trading and investing, we have different tools at our disposal. And one of them is DCX. This is the one for those who want to learn more about crypto. And within this package, we have several educators. So if I just go to the right screen, and they teach us, you know, it's just like, you know, you could call it the Netflix of financial education. We have all these educators. Oh, by the way, am I still sharing my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. So we have all these educators, and, you know, each one specializes in different areas. Now, once upon a time, before I joined the academy, I used to get my information from YouTube, which is great, but it's fragmented. And one of the things that I've learned is to compound, I say compound my money, but also compound my time, make my time more effective. So rather than trying to get nuggets from so many different sources, I have a central location because we have 200 plus educators, each with their, but they're not all teaching crypto. You know, you've got the crypto, we've got Forex, and we've got HFX. I'll explain the difference between the three. So within that, we have all kinds of different personalities, different strategies. Some teach very quick trade strategies. Some teach medium trade strategies. Some teach more long-term strategies. So just to give you a picture of that, we have someone called Crypto Picasso. So he's been a trader for well over a decade, and what we call like a Bitcoin guru for about 8+ years. So if you want to know anything about Bitcoin in particular, this is the person that we follow. If you want to learn about, you know, the multitude of alternative cryptocurrencies, this is the person that, you know, is highly recommended with the organization, Kurt Cobain. And he's really good because he would give you the basics in terms of crypto. So if you don't know anything about crypto, once you follow his courses, you will learn the basic fundamentals, how to keep it safe, and also the good coins to invest in. Not hype coins, but coins with really good fundamentals with a future in front of them. And, you know, we also have, so, you know, so literally there's, you could almost say there's as many tactics as there is educators that we have here. For example, we've got someone called Ivan Paychecks. He's somewhere here. This guy here, if you were to Google him, many years back, he was documented as the first person to ever buy luxury real estate using Bitcoin. So yeah, so we've got some big names that they were big names before they joined the academy. And just to give an idea of some of the tools that we use within the DCX package, we have, for example, we have trade suggestions given by various educators. We have, you know, we have chats with them, you know, so basically they give us advice. And so I find this very useful because especially now that I'm, you know, back to a 9-to-5 role, It's very much a time saver, relying on the experts who have more time. And, you know, they give suggestions of good times to buy a cryptocurrency and good times to sell it. So these are kind of like medium, long-term investments. But then on top of that, we also have the daily trades. So if you're someone who wants to be making an income on a daily basis, so let's just say that you want to buy or sell Bitcoin today. What I tend to do, I would refer to this, and it would give me, you know, it helps give me confidence with my decision in terms of, okay, is this a good time to buy? Is this a good time to sell? And this indicator is used to give hints of when it's a good time to buy. Obviously, no system is 100%, but if you see by this indicator said that this is a good time to buy, and look what happened here, a massive price hike. So this is one of many tools that we have available to us. So that's my bias to crypto coming to the fore. But not just with crypto, we have foreign exchange educators as well. So if you want to be trading in the currency exchanges, the same thing. We have multiple educators, each with different personalities, helping us to use various tools to make money in the foreign exchange market. This one here, taught by Tyrone, is the DeLorean strategy. And it's a really good one because it's the way that this strategy is taught. It's a low risk strategy in the sense that when you're trading, because when you're, you know, depending on how much you know about trading Forex, if a trade doesn't go in your direction, the strategy that is taught with DeLorean is a low risk. So if you don't win the trade, what you've lost is a very small percentage. So that's foreign exchange. And then on top of that, if this loads, yeah. So we also have something called HFX. And HFX is a great system that works for the beginner or someone who has very limited time, but they want to trade. And the way I see it is that that's one of the great things about the Academy. You have something for each personality type, each lifestyle. And the good thing about it is that whichever strategy you learn, they're complementary because it's very much a mindset thing. And the skills that you learn, they can cross over into different strategies. So whether you start with HFX, it will help you with Forex. Whether you start with Forex, it will help you with DCX. And that's one of the great things that I love about being within the Academy. So before I come towards the end of this, does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask? Okay, I will push forward. So if you bear with me, I start the presentation again. Okay, and I'll fast forward in a very professional manner to the next bit of the presentation. Right, so as mentioned before, we also do e-commerce as well, but this is what I'm focusing on today. So as I mentioned before, HFX, high frequency trading, is great for the beginner or someone with limited time. Foreign exchange goes more in depth, but the skills that you use can be applied to HFX and can also be applied to DCX as well. Okay, and yeah, so that's basically everything that I wanted to say today. So I hope you found it interesting, and let me just give you an overview of the different packages. So you've got the prices of HFX and FRX there, and then you also have, and this is the package that I have, you have the elite package, and the elite package gives you access to all of these strategies and a few bonuses as well. So, you know, I would say that it's something very much to consider. And if you go back to the beginning of the presentation, what I was saying before, the things that have been happening recently, to my mind, if you're relying exclusively on a single source of income, what you're actually doing is walking backwards, because there's all kinds of things changing right now. And, you know, I was thinking to myself, if you're someone who's working in a 9-to-5 and maybe you're connected to the transport industry, if you're doing something else as well, the fuel crisis wouldn't have bothered you, because you know that, okay, you're not getting income from this, but you can be getting income from another one of your sources. If you're someone that, you know, needs to commute to work, if you're earning money from other sources, although it may be a bit of an inconvenience, you know, you could just hire an Uber or something like that, and the financial cost doesn't impact you, because you know that you're getting income streams from other sources. So yeah, so I really thought this was food for thought. You know, basically, multiple income sources gives you peace of mind and helps prepare you for the unexpected. And yeah, that's my presentation. I hope you found it interesting. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask away.
How much does it all cost?
Let me go back to the price again. You're making me fast forward all the way to the end. Bear with me 1 second. Right. Okay. So yeah. So each package. So when you start in month 1, there's an admin fee that, you know, hence why the initial cost is $234, but then monthly it's $174.95. And bear in mind that it's not a fixed contract. You can come and go as you please. So there's flexibility there. And depending on your budget and your focus of attention, you have the ability to switch between packages. So you might say to yourself, oh, I like HFX, but maybe I'd like to try DCX this month. You have that ability to do that. Having said that, as you advance, or if the hunger and passion is there, you can do what I did, and you can go for the elite package and have, you know, all of the resources available to you. So yeah, so the elite package, you know, the initial startup cost is $324 a month, and it's then monthly $274. But the standard packages, whether it's DCX, FRX, or HFX, all of those are $174 a month. So from my point of view, I prefer the added value of having all of them and going for the elite pack, especially this week, because with all the exciting things that are happening in crypto at the moment, I mean, it's amazing right now. And it's nice knowing that I have access to the expert educators within the DCX package. You know, I made a couple purchases today, and I felt I did it with extra confidence, because part of my decision making was based on the advice given by some of our educators. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Cool. So right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop recording now. So if you just bear with me, and